In their addresses to Parliament, both U.S. President Joe Biden and Prime Minister Justin Trudeau commented on the closeness, shared values, and shared futures Canada and the U.S. have.
Mr. President, in your most recent powerful State of the Union, you encouraged the American people to stay optimistic, hopeful, and forward-looking. Well, this is a vision that Canadians share too. So let's keep working hard, and together, let's continue to build a better future for our people. Welcome to Canada, my friend.
Nothing gives me greater confidence in the future than knowing Canada and the United States stand together still. Xi Jinping asked me in the Tibetan Plateau, could I define America? And I could have said the same thing if he asked about Canada. I said, yes, one word, and I mean it, one word, possibilities. Nothing is beyond our capacity. We can do anything. We have to never forget. We must never doubt our capacity. Canada and the United States can do big things. We stand together, do them together, rise together. We're going to write the future together, I promise you.
All right, I'm joined now by the CBC's Katie Simpson and the CBC's Alex Panetta, our two stars of our Washington bureau. Alex, there's a lot of anxiety in this country about Buy American and what it means. You heard Pierre Poilievre talking about it. What do you think about the president's had to say about that today and whether he reassured those concerns?
Yeah, can I just begin by saying that I'm from Montreal, and the fact that the President of the United States and the Parliament of Canada today took a shot at the Toronto Maple Leafs, I would roll around and bathe in that soundbite if I could. So getting on to more serious things. Buy American. So it makes a lot of news when a president says something about Buy American policies because it scares people that investment might flow out of this country. And this specific policy, the one he announced at the State of the Union address, involves money from the famous Inflation Reduction Act, right? Let's just begin by saying what it does and what it doesn't do. That policy does not apply to federal projects. It doesn't apply to military projects, because they're covered by the World Trade Organization procurement agreement. It doesn't apply to state projects that, for state agencies that signed the procurement agreement. It doesn't apply to most of the Inflation Reduction Act that has to do with tax credits for people to do things. It's not about procurement. This is about actually people spending their own money. And it doesn't apply to most products. It applies to lumber and I think certain petroleum products, but going from memory here. And even there are potential carve-outs. If you check the regulations, there's ways to get out of it. So there's a reason Canadian officials in Washington, who usually get very jumpy about protectionism, don't sound that jumpy about this.
Right. Okay. So maybe a little bit exaggerated. Is it more neurotic than real, or what?
Well, I think that there's just general neurosis in Canada, with good reason, that the United States might adopt policies that sort of that create a chill among investors. But in this specific case, that famous clip from his State of the Union address where he mentioned Buy American, I don't know if this is going to be a big deal.
So, Katie, is this like a form of PTSD where the T stands for Trump? You know, as you were our main NAFTA reporter for a long time when you worked in this bureau, is that what's going on there? Because a very different tone from Joe Biden today about economic integration and cooperation.
It's as if some members of the Canada-U.S. Friendship Room, remember in politics you create a war room. Remember during the Trump era they created the Friendship Room. People in that Friendship Room who are in the Prime Minister's office, they could have written Joe Biden's speech themselves. This is exactly what they wanted to hear. On that specific Buy American concern during the State of the Union, I was working State of the Union night, and when he said it out loud, I started texting people in Ottawa, hey, what does this mean, da-da-da-da, and all the answers I got back from sources who are connected to things is that the Americans had signaled this policy was coming and it wasn't going to have it wasn't going to have some sort of massive impact on the Canada-U.S. sort of trade relationship, business relationship, all that kind of stuff. So there wasn't a lot of concern in an area where there is deep neuroses, right, Alex?
Yeah, and just, well, that relationship tonight at least is going to be a celebration. We can show you pictures of the gala that it's happening as people are gathering. We expect the president and the prime minister may very well arrive there soon. Of course, everything's been behind schedule today, as those of us who have been filling live airtime certainly know about. People are now being told to take their seats. So that is a sign that perhaps the president and the prime minister are on their way. But Alex, pick up on what Katie had to say about this being a somewhat neurotic relationship. I mean, do you think Joe Biden is making it better? You know, it's certainly what he had to say about about, you pointed out, the Defense Procurement Act, money that will be spent in Canada for critical minerals, and what he had to say about supply chains, I think would be comforting to a lot of people in the country.
Absolutely. There's some news in that statement from the two leaders that the Pentagon is about to fund Canadian mining projects and not to buy an equity stake in them, to literally just give them money. And those announcements are coming this spring. I knew the Pentagon was looking at funding Canadian projects. I didn't realize a decision had been made to make it happen. So that was obviously, that's definitely going to make some people happy in Canada. So whether Joe Biden has been good for Canada or not, I think is a matter of perspective. I mean, if your priority is the development of our energy sector and our energy exports and oil, you'll think that he's been bad because he canceled the Keystone Pipeline.
Right.
But over the last year, there have been some potential irritants, and he's taken them off the table. And look at what he did today. There are two types of speeches from U.S. presidents in Canada. One where you sort of air some of the dirty laundry in public, where you make the hard push on Canada, and JFK did something like that. Barack Obama, to a lesser extent, did it as well, asking for more funding of the military in 2016 when he spoke to the Parliament. Mm-hmm. And on the other end of the spectrum, there's a speech like Bill Clinton gave, a speech like Ronald Reagan gave. Well, now I think Biden has joined the latter camp, where it's like it was all sugar. I described it as a truck filled with cotton candy rolling through Ottawa.
Yeah, Katie, so much sugar, I think I got a cavity listening to it. But well received here in Ottawa, I think, certainly by the federal government and supporters of the Liberals. I mean, how is any of this playing in Washington today?
Well, it depends on which camp you're looking at. If you're looking at Joe Biden's political opponents, they're seizing on any sort of flubs or mistake he would have made. Joe Biden made a mistake in his speech, and he said, "I want to applaud China." That was picked up on social media by Republican Twitter accounts that they're political. They go after Joe Biden at every opportunity. And it wasn't just that. It picked apart everything, saying Joe Biden's in Canada, but he hasn't been to East Palestine, Ohio yet. Things like that. So that's kind of where that is going to, that kind of traction. Overall, it is getting more attention in the United States in the news than I expected it to get today. There was some live coverage, and we are starting to sort of see, I'm starting to see through some of the news websites that it is getting some pickup. But is this going to be like a major thing like it's going to be in Canada for the next couple of days, where everyone's going to be talking about it, dissecting it, and where the relationship is and what this says about Canada? No, it's going to, well, it happened, he went, and he's home now. So back to as per usual.
But we only got a couple of minutes left. But Alex, when he does go home, the fact that he came here, he stayed overnight here, stayed here for like 26, 27 hours, kind of sends a message to official Washington that this matters to the U.S. president. Well,
yeah, and part of their statement, the leaders promised to create some sort of task force on clean energy.
Right.
And I think what's interesting there is that thing is it's not solving any Buy American issues, but what it's doing is trying to prevent future spats like that or over electric vehicles. So no, I mean you couldn't ask for a better outcome if you were Canada. I think both countries could have had potentially a couple of announcements they would have loved to hear, but on Haiti, for example, the Americans would have loved to leave with a stronger promise on Haiti or on defense spending. But overall, I don't think I don't think anyone has anything to complain about after this trip.
Katie, in quick 90 seconds, Haiti, how will that play? The lack of Canada-led mission coming out of this, but $100 million for training and police support.
Well, that is something we heard from Joe Biden himself, saying he wasn't necessarily disappointed he didn't come away with the announcement that perhaps Americans had been pushing for. The thing is, when it comes to border-related issues, the way the Biden administration looks at Haiti, they see it as not only the crisis that's unfolding on the ground and the violence and the challenges with the gangs there and the instability, but they also see it as a source of migration. All of the instability is causing people to flee, hoping for a better life. And so they want to see stability there and hope to ease that and hope to ease their problem at the southern border with millions of people trying to cross into the United States on a yearly basis now. And so the president is looking for anything tangible he can get on that. Yes, Canada is going to accept 15,000 more migrants, but obviously if there are opportunities for Canada to do more, I'm certain that the Americans would let them know.
Okay, we're going to leave it there. Yeah, that's a good point. The 15,000, that's our trade-off for the Safe Third Country Agreement, applying right across the border, and Roxon Road being closed as of 12:01 tonight. Katie Simpson, Alex Pineda, we're not at the gala dinner. We're looking at that on the screen, but this is our little gala panel right at the end of Power and Politics. Thanks so much for joining us, gang, and for all your work today.
Thanks.
Thank you.